When we're dividing those, Victoria asked, do we only look at the simplified version of the question? And that is no. We look at the entire thing before we simplified. So before you cancel things out, that's what we're looking at. And that's something that is easy to forget, but we are just simplifying it. We need to talk about the restrictions on the original one. So this is just a simplified version of the original. Good question. So before we simplify, we cancel out, or we find the restrictions. On number 3, which again may be different on your test, let's try p minus 4p minus 32 divided by p plus 4. All right? If you missed this one, make sure you're writing something down. Again, the first thing we're going to do is factor. What do we have that multiplies to give us a negative 32 but also adds to give us a negative 4? 8 and minus 4. But actually, I think the 8 needs to be negative. So we have p minus 8 and p plus 4. Because these two add together to give me a negative 4 but also multiply to give me a negative 32. And in the denominator, we just have a p plus 4. We can simplify this one because we have a p plus 4 in the numerator and the denominator. And so our final answer that we're looking for is p minus 8. Does this one ask us for restrictions? Yes. So restrictions come from before we simplified. So look back underneath that little cross mark we have. P plus 4 cannot equal 0. So what does that mean p cannot equal? P cannot equal not 4, negative 4. Because if I subtract 4 from both sides, p can't equal negative 4. All right, so we need something that has both this and this in it. So we got to have both or we're not right. Okay, so that was number 3. Any questions on that? Okay. For number 4 on this form, I have 4a to the 5th over 7b to the 4th times 2b squared divided by 2a to the 4th. All right. So check and see if you missed the one on your test that looks like this. This one threw a lot of people for a loop, just because it doesn't look like all the other ones we did, although you will find some like this in your notes. One thing that you can do, even though this isn't the only option, is you can multiply all the top stuff together, see what you get, and you can multiply all the bottom stuff together and see what you get, and then simplify after that. So for the top stuff, I've got a 4 and 2. What's 4 times 2? 8. And I've got an a to the 5th times a b squared. Well, those aren't the same letters, so I can't say that's a to the 7th or b to the 7th. I have to just write it down as a to the 5th b squared. So we have to keep them separate. Bless you. For the next one, 7 times 2, the number parts, 14. And yeah, I can't do anything with that. I could write them in a different order, but that's not really going to make a difference. All right. So now I have this. Does anybody see any way to simplify just the number part? 8 divided by 14. Divide them both by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 14 divided by 2 is 7. What about the a part? A to the 5th divided by a to the 4th. That would be a times a times a times a times a divided by a times a times a times a. I don't like writing it that many times, but we may have to figure these out. Do you guys see anything in the top that matches stuff in the bottom? Couple of a's, couple of a's, couple of a's, couple of a's, leaving me with one a left on the top. Easier way to do that. Who remembers it now? Colin? Exactly. You subtract the 5, take away the 4, and you get a 1. Good job. All right, and now lastly we have these b's. And again, I could do b times b over b times b times b times b, or like Colin said, we could subtract them. But this time when I subtract 2 take away 4, I get negative 2. You guys remember that negative exponents go in the denominator to become positive. So we've got a couple different ways to do that. So this is our simplified version. There's nothing else I can do with that. We just have to read the directions again and see if there was anything else. It said to, well, it didn't say, but we needed the restrictions. All the restrictions in that one are the same. A can't equal 0 and B can't equal 0. And that's because there was an A and a B in the original denominator. So neither of those can be 0, or we're going to be breaking that rule. We cannot divide by 0 ever. Any questions on number 4? Okay. Number 5, our last one for today. And then we'll pull these back out again tomorrow. All right? Right, but they're the same questions, just in a different order. So if you look at the questions, you'll see the same things. They're just in a different order, okay? All right, in number 5, again, you'll see this question. It's just maybe in a different order on your paper. All right, when you're dividing, do we factor like we did in the other problems? Do we still factor? Yeah, we still factor. Can I factor any of these? Just this one. Okay, so what multiplies to give me a negative 5 and adds to give me a positive 4? 5 is pretty, I mean, there's not a lot that you can do with a 5, right? 5 and 1 is all we have. But I can't do positives. 5 and negative 1, I like it. All right, so I'm going to change this to a plus 5 and a minus 1. And I'm just doing this because I don't have a lot of room here. So I'm doing a plus 5, x plus 5, and an x minus 1. Okay, I have to do what, Diego? Flip it. So a couple people, I looked at their work, and they were flipping both of the fractions. But remember, we only flip the second fraction. So we change this to multiply, and we flip the second fraction so that the x plus 5 and x minus 1 is on top, and the x plus 4 is still on the bottom. And then now that it's a multiplication problem, we just need to find anything in the top that matches anything in the bottom so that we can simplify. In this one, I don't see anything. What do we do when it's like that? In this problem, I don't even have anything that matches. Something was wrong. Okay, so thanks to Trevor and Victoria, we discovered that this was supposed to be minus 1 here, which means this is supposed to be minus 1 here. And now we can see that something does, in fact, simplify. So I've got a x minus 1 here and an x minus 1 here that will simplify. And that leaves me with an x plus 2 and an x plus 5. Okay, x plus 2 times x plus 5 all over x plus 4. And we're also, nope, we don't need any restrictions on this one, so we are good. Any questions on number 5 or number 4, whichever one it is on your test?